CIET NCERT presents audiobook of Geography for Class 8 entitled Resource and Development. This is the lesson 2. Land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. From page number 7 to page number 21. Let's listen to the lesson Land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Page number 7. In a small village in Tanzania, Africa, Mamba gets up very early in the morning to fetch water. She has to walk a long way and returns after a few hours. She then helps her mother in the house and joins her brother in taking care of their goats. All her family owns is a piece of rocky land around their small hut. Mamba's father can barely grow some maize and beans on it after toiling hard. This is not enough to feed their family for the whole year. Peter lives in the heart of the sheep rearing region in New Zealand, where his family runs a wool processing factory. Every day, when he returns from school, Peter watches his uncle taking care of their sheep. Their sheep yard is situated on a wide grassy plain with hills in the far distance. It is managed in a scientific way using the latest technology. Peter's family also grows vegetables through organic farming. Mamba and Peter stay in two different parts of the world and lead very different lives. This difference is because of the differences in the quality of land, soil, water, natural vegetation, animals, and the usage of technology. The availability of such resources is the main reason places differ from each other. On the right side, there is an orange box, which reads, Let's do. Observe the land, type of soil, and water availability in the region you live. Discuss in your class how it has influenced the lifestyle of people there. Land. Land is among the most important natural resources. It covers only about 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface, and all parts of this small percentage are not habitable. At the right side, there is a red box, which reads, Do you know? 90% of the world population occupies only 30% of land area. The remaining 70% of the land is either sparsely populated or uninhabited. The uneven distribution of population in different parts of the world is mainly due to varied characteristics of land and climate. The rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountains, low-lying areas susceptible to waterlogging, desert areas, thick forested areas are normally sparsely populated or uninhabited. Page number 2. Plains and river valleys offer suitable land for agriculture. Hence, these are the densely populated areas of the world. Page number 8. On the left side, there is a figure 2.1 Selberg in Austria. This picture shows how many ways the land has been used. Land use. Land is used for different purposes such as agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, and setting up of industries. This is commonly termed as land use. Can you list out the different ways in which Mambas and Peter's family use their land? The use of land is determined by physical factors such as topography, soil, climate, minerals, and availability of water. Human factors such as population and technology are also important determinants of land use pattern. Land can also be classified on the basis of ownership as private land and community land. Private land is owned by individuals, whereas community land is owned by the community for common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, nuts, or medicinal herbs. These community lands are also called common property resources. People and their demands are ever growing, but the availability of land is limited. The quality of land also differs from place to place. People started encroaching the common lands to build up commercial areas, housing complexes in the urban areas, and to expand the agricultural land in the rural areas. Today, the vast changes in the land use pattern also reflect the cultural changes in our society. Land degradation, landslides, soil erosion, desertification are the major threats to the environment because of the expansion of agriculture and construction activities. At the bottom, there is a yellow box which reads, "Let's do." Talk to some elderly person in your family or neighborhood and collect information about changes in the land use over the years in the place where you live. Display your findings on the bulletin board in your classroom. Page number 9. On page number 9, there is figure number 2.2. In this figure, with the help of 4 diagrams, the change in land use over time has been given. In the first diagram, we see the land is mostly used for agriculture. Then, in second diagram, the houses are slowly increasing and the land used for agriculture has reduced. Then, in third diagram, we see that land is used for making roads, making complexes, houses, and factories. And in the last diagram, we see that the agricultural land has been completely reduced and we see a lot of park, road, and houses. Conservation of land resource. Growing population and their ever-growing demand has led to a large-scale destruction of forest cover and arable land and has created a fear of losing this natural resource. Therefore, the present rate of degradation of land must be checked. Afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical pesticide and fertilizers, and checks on overgrazing are some of the common methods used to conserve land resources. Soil. The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is called soil. It is closely linked to land. Landforms determine the type of soil. Soil is made up of organic matter, minerals, and weathered rocks found on the earth. This happens through the process of weathering. The right mix of minerals and organic matter make the soil fertile. At the bottom right side, there is a pink box which reads Glossary. Weathering. The breaking up and decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost action, plants, animals, and human activity. Page number 10. Landslides. Landslides are simply defined as the mass movement of rock, debris, or earth down a slope. They often take place in conjunction with earthquakes, floods, and volcanoes. A prolonged spell of rainfall can cause heavy landslide that can block the flow of river for quite some time. The formation of river blocks can cause havoc to the settlements downstream on its bursting. In the hilly terrain, landslides have been major and widely spread natural disaster that often strike life and property and occupy a position of major concern. On the top right side, there is an image given which shows a landslide. A case study. A massive landslide hit Pangi village near Rekong Pio in Kinnaur district of Himachal Pradesh and damaged a 200-meter stretch of Old Hindustan Tibet Road National Highway 22. This landslide was triggered by intense blasting at Pangi village. Due to the blasting, this weak zone of slope collapsed and caused intense damage to the road and nearby villages. The Pangi village was completely vacated to avoid any possible loss of life. Mitigation mechanism. Advancement in scientific techniques has empowered us to understand what factors cause landslides and how to manage them. Some broad mitigation of techniques of landslides are given here. First, hazard mapping to locate areas prone to landslide. Hence, such areas can be avoided for building settlements. Second, construction of retention wall to stop land from slipping. Third, increase the vegetation cover to arrest landslide. Fourth, the surface drainage control works to control the movement of landslide along the rainwater and spring flows. At the bottom right side, there is an image given which shows retention wall. Page number 11. On page there is figure number 2.3 which depicts soil profile. In the figure, the soil profile has been given. First layer of soil is parent rock. Second layer of soil is weathered rock material. Third layer of soil is subsoil with sand, silt and clay. And the fourth layer is the topsoil with humus and vegetation. At the right side, there is a red box which reads, "Do you know? It takes hundreds of years to make just 1 centimeter of soil." Factors of soil formation. The major factors of soil formation are the nature of the parent rock and climatic factors. Other factors are the topography, role of organic material, and time taken for the composition of soil formation. All these differ from place to place. At the bottom, there is figure number 2.4 titled Factors Affecting Soil Formation. There is a diagram showing the factors affecting soil formation. The different factors have given in 5 colored boxes. First is parent rock. Determines color, texture, chemical properties, mineral content, permeability. Second, climate. Temperature, rainfall influence, rate of weathering and humus formation. Third, relief, altitude and slope determine accumulation of soil. Fourth, flora, fauna, and microorganisms affect the rate of humus formation. Fifth, time determines thickness of soil profile. In the end, all these factors affect soil formation and soil is formed. Page number 12. Degradation of soil and conservation measures. Soil erosion and depletion are the major threats to soil as a resource. Both human and natural factors can lead to degradation of soils. Factors which lead to soil degradation are deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides, rainwash, landslides, and floods. Some methods of soil conservation are listed here. Number 1. Mulching. The bare ground between plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw. It helps to retain soil moisture. Number 2. Contour barriers. Stones, grass, soil are used to build barriers along contours. Trenches are made in front of the barriers to collect water. Number 3. Rock dam. Rock dams are piled up to slow down the flow of water. This prevents gullies and further soil loss. 3 figures are given on page. Figure number 2.5 shows terrace farming. Figure number 2.6 shows contour plowing. Figure number 2.7 shows shelter belts. Number 4. Terrace farming. Broad, flat steps or terraces are made on the steep slopes so that flat surfaces are available to grow crops. They reduce surface runoff and soil erosion, which shown in figure number 2.5. Number 5. Intercropping. Different crops are grown in alternate rows and are sown at different times to protect the soil from rainwash. Number 6. Contour plowing. Plowing parallel to the contours of a hill slope to form a natural barrier for water to flow down the slope. Contour plowing shown in figure number 2.6. Number 7. Shelter belts. In the coastal and dry regions, rows of trees are planted to check the wind movement to protect soil cover, which shown in figure number 2.7. At the top, there is a green box which reads Activity. In India, soils could be alluvial, black, red, laterite, desertic, and mountain soil. Collect a handful of different types of soil and observe how are they different. Page number 13. On page there is a green box which reads Activity. There are 2 diagrams given, diagram A and diagram B, which depicts the activity, which is written here in the box, which reads: Take 2 trays, A and B of same size. Make 6 holes at one end of these trays and then fill them with the same amount of soil. Leave the soil in tray A bare, while sow wheat or rice grains in tray B. When the grain in tray B has grown a few centimeters high, place both the trays in such a way that they are on a slope. Pour 1 mug of water from the same height into each tray. Collect the muddy water that trickles down the holes of both trays in 2 separate containers and compare how much soil is washed out of each tray. Water. Water is a vital renewable natural resource. 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. It is therefore appropriately called the water planet. It was in the primitive oceans that life began almost 3.5 billion years back. Even today, the ocean cover 2/3 of the Earth's surface and support a rich variety of plant and animal life. The ocean water is, however, saline and not fit for human consumption. Fresh water accounts for only about 2.7%. Nearly 70% of this occurs as ice sheets and glaciers in Antarctica, Greenland, and mountain regions. Due to their location, they are inaccessible. Only 1% of fresh water is available and fit for human use. It is found as groundwater, as surface water in rivers and lakes, and as water vapors in the atmosphere. On the right side, there is a red box which reads, "Do you know?" In 1975, the consumption of water for human use was 3,850 cubic kilometer per year. It soared to more than 6,000 cubic kilometer per year in the year 2000. Fresh water is therefore the most precious substance on earth. Water can neither be added nor subtracted from the earth. Its total volume remains constant. Its abundance only seems to vary because it is in constant motion, cycling through the oceans, the air, the land, and back again through the processes of evaporation, precipitation, and runoff. This, as you already know, is referred to as the water cycle. On the right side, there is another red box which reads, "Do you know?" A dripping tap wastes 1,200 liters of water in a year. Page number 14. Humans use huge amounts of water, not only for drinking and washing, but also in the process of production. Water for agriculture, industries, generating electricity through reservoirs of dams, other usages. Increasing population, rising demands for food and cash crops, increasing urbanization, and rising standards of living are the major factors leading to shortages in supply of fresh water, either due to drying up of water sources or water pollution. On the top left side, there is a green box which reads activity. An average urban Indian uses about 150 liters of water every day. There are two columns in the box. In the first column, it is written the uses of water, and in the second column, it is written liters per person per day. Now it has tally given. Here, drinking uses 3 liters per person per day. Cooking uses 4 liters per person per day. Bathing uses 20 liters per person per day. Flushing uses 40 liters per person per day. Washing clothes uses 40 liters per person per day. Washing utensil uses 20 liters per person per day. Gardening uses 23 liters per person per day. Total in the end is 150 liters. It is also written here, can you suggest some ways to bring down this amount? Problems of water availability. There is scarcity of water in many regions of the world. Most of Africa, West Asia, South Asia, parts of Western USA, Northwest Mexico, parts of South America, and entire Australia are facing shortages in fresh water supply. Countries located in climatic zones most susceptible to droughts face great problems of water scarcity. Thus, water shortage may be a consequence of variation in seasonal or annual precipitation, or the scarcity is caused by overexploitation and contamination of water sources. On the left side, there is a red box given, which reads, "Do you know? Have you ever heard about a water market?" Amreli city in Saurashtra region with a population of 1.25 lakhs is completely dependent on purchasing water from the nearby talukas. Conservation of water resources. Access to clean and adequate water sources is a major problem facing the world today. Steps have to be taken to conserve this dwindling resource. Even though water is a renewable resource, its overuse and pollution can make it unfit for use. Discharge or untreated or partially treated sewage, agricultural chemicals, and industrial effluents in water bodies are major contaminants. They pollute water with nitrates, metals, and pesticides. At the bottom, there is a figure 2.8, which shows River Yamuna is getting polluted due to sewage, industrial effluents, and garbage. Page number 15. Most of these chemicals are non-biodegradable and reach human bodies through water. Water pollution can be controlled by treating these effluents suitably before releasing them in water bodies. Forest and other vegetation cover slow the surface runoff and replenish underground water. Water harvesting is another method to save surface runoff. The canals used for irrigating field should be properly lined to minimize losses by water seepage. Sprinklers effectively irrigate the area by checking water losses through seepage and evaporation. In dry regions with high rates of evaporation, drip or trickle irrigation is very useful. The valuable water resource can therefore be conserved by adopting these means of irrigation. At the top on the right, there is a figure 2.9 which shows a water sprinkler. Just after the figure 2.9, there is a red box which reads, "Do you know? Rainwater harvesting is the process of collecting rain water from rooftops and directing it to an appropriate location where it is stored for future use. On an average, one spell of rain for 2 hours is enough to save 8,000 liters of water." Natural vegetation and wildlife. Some school children were visiting an exhibition on handicrafts. The articles in the exhibition were collected from different parts of the country. Mona picked up a bag and exclaimed, "This is a beautiful bag." "Yes, it is made from jute," the teacher said. "Do you see those baskets, lampshades, and chairs? Those are made up of canes and bamboos." In the eastern and northeastern humid regions of India, bamboo grows in plenty. Jessie was excited to see a silk scarf. "See this beautiful scarf?" The teacher explained that silk is obtained from silkworms that are bred on mulberry trees. The children understood that plants provide us with many different products that we use in our day-to-day life. Natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere that we called biosphere. In the biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for survival. This life supporting system is known as the ecosystem. Vegetation and wildlife are valuable resources. Plants provide us with timber, give shelter to animals, produce oxygen we breathe, protects soils, so essential for growing crops, act as shelter belts, help in storage of underground water, give us fruits, nuts, latex, turpentine oil, gum, medicinal plants, and also the paper that is so essential for your studies. These are innumerable uses of plants, and you can add some more. At the bottom right side, there is figure number 2.10, which shows silkworms. Page number 16. Wildlife includes animals, birds, insects, as well as the aquatic life forms. They provide us milk, meat, hides, and wool. Insects like bees provide us honey, help in pollination of flowers, and have an important role to play as decomposers in the ecosystem. The birds feed on insects and act as decomposers as well. Vulture, due to its ability to feed on dead livestock, is a scavenger and considered a vital cleanser of the environment. So, animals, big or small, all are integral to maintaining balance in the ecosystem. On the right side, there is a figure 2.11, which shows a Brahmakamal, which is a medicinal herb. There is another figure 2.12, which shows a blue kingfisher. On the left side, there is a red box, which reads, "Do you know?" Vultures in the Indian subcontinent were dying of kidney failure shortly after scavenging livestock treated with diclofenac, a painkiller that is similar to aspirin or ibuprofen. Efforts are on to ban the drug for livestock use and breed vultures in captivity. There is an image of vulture is shown in the same box. Distribution of natural vegetation. The growth of vegetation depends primarily on temperature and moisture. The major vegetation types of the world are grouped as forests, grasslands, scrubs, and tundra. In areas of heavy rainfall, huge trees may thrive. The forests are thus associated with areas having abundant water supply. As the amount of moisture decreases, the size of trees and their density decreases. Short stunted trees and grasses grow in the regions of moderate rainfall, forming the grasslands of the world. Thorny shrubs and scrubs grow in dry areas of low rainfall. At the bottom left side, there is figure number 2.13, which shows grassland and forest. Page number 17. In such areas, plants have deep roots and leaves with thorny and waxy surface reduce loss of moisture through transpiration. Tundra vegetation of cold polar regions comprise of mosses and lichens. On the right side, there is a figure 2.14, which shows a python in a forest. Today, there are many more people in the world than there were 2 centuries back. To feed the growing numbers, large areas of forests have been cleared to grow crops. Forests cover all over the world in vanishing rapidly. There is an urgent need to conserve this valuable resource. Conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. Forests are our wealth. Plants give shelter to the animals and together they maintain the ecosystem. Changes of climate and human interferences can cause the loss of natural habitats for the plants and animals. Many species have become vulnerable or endangered and some are on the verge of extinction. Deforestation, soil erosion, constructional activities, forest fires, tsunami, and landslides are some of the human and natural factors which accelerate the process of extinction of these resources. One of the major concerns is the poaching, which results in a sharp decline in the number of particular species. The animals are poached for collection and illegal trade of hides, skins, nails, teeth, horns, as well as feathers. Some of these animals are tiger, lion, elephant, deer, black buck, crocodile, rhinoceros, snow leopard, ostrich, and peacock. These can be conserved by increasing awareness. On the right side, there is figure number 2.15, which shows a collage of a forest made by school students. There is another figure 2.16 on the right side of page number 11, which shows loss of rainforest in Great Nicobar after tsunami. Page number 18. National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves are made to protect our natural vegetation and wildlife. Conservation of creeks, lakes, and wetlands is necessary to save the precious resource from depletion. There is a balance in the environment if the relative number of species is not disturbed. Human activities in several parts of the world have disturbed the natural habitats of many species. Due to indiscriminate killings, several birds and animals have either become extinct or are on the verge of extinction. On the top left side, there is figure 2.17. Figure shows a black buck, which is entitled Black Buck Also Needs Protection. There is an activity given which consists one image. In this image, there are several forest fire paper cuttings. And it reads, Activity. Read the news item and find out how fire started in California. Could it be avoided? No more. Forest fire is a threat to the entire region of fauna and flora. It occurs mainly due to 3 reasons. Number 1, natural fire due to lightning, etc. Number 2, fire due to heat generated in the litter due to carelessness of people. Number 3, Fire purposely caused by local inhabitants, mischief makers, miscreants, etc. Some control measures. Number 1. Prevention of fires through education. Number 2. Prompt detection of fires through well-coordinated network of observation points, efficient ground patrolling and communication network. Page number 18. Awareness programs like social forestry and Van Mahotsav should be encouraged at the regional and community level. School children should be encouraged to birdwatch and visit nature camps so that they appreciate the habitat of varied species. Many countries have passed the laws against the trade as well as killing of birds and animals. In India, killing lions, tigers, deers, great Indian bustards and peacocks is illegal. An international convention, CITES, CITES has been established that list several species of animals and birds in which trade is prohibited. Conservation of plants and animals is an ethical duty of every citizen. On the top right side, there is a pink box which reads Glossary. National Park. A natural area designated to protect the ecological integrity of one or more ecosystems for the present and future generations. On the right side, there is figure number 2.18, which shows a herd of cheetahs. There is another figure 2.19, which shows a herd of elephants in Kaziranga National Park. On the right side, there is a pink box which reads Glossary. Biosphere Reserves. Series of protected areas linked through a global network intended to demonstrate the relationship between conservation and development. At the bottom, there is a red color rectangular box which reads, do you know? CITES cites the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora is an international agreement between governments. It aims to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. Roughly 5,000 species of animals and 28,000 species of plants are protected. Bears, dolphins, cacti, corals, orchids, and aloes are some examples. Page number 20. Exercises. Number 1. Answer the questions given here. Question number 1. Which are the two main climatic factors responsible for soil formation? Question number 2. Write any two reasons for land degradation today. Question number 3. Why is land considered an important resource? Question number 4. Name any two steps that government has taken to conserve plants and animals. Question number 5. Suggest 3 ways to conserve water. Number 2. Tick the correct answer. Question number 1. Which one of the option is not a factor of soil formation? A. Time. B. Soil texture. C. Organic matter. Question number 2. Which one of the option is most appropriate methods to check soil erosion on steep slopes? A. Shelter belts. B. Mulching. C. Terrace cultivation. Question number 3. Which one of the option is not in favor of the conservation of nature? A. Switch off the bulb when not in use. B. Close the tap immediately after using. C. Dispose polybags after shopping. Number 3. Match the given columns. 2 columns are given under question number 3. Left side column reads: Number 1. Land use. Number 2. Humus. Number 3. Rock dams. Number 4. Biosphere. Right side column reads: A. Prevent soil erosion. B. Narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. C. Productive use of land. D. Organic matter deposited on topsoil. E. Contour plowing. Number 4. State whether the given statement is true or false. If true, write the reasons. Number 1. Ganga Brahmaputra plain of India is an overpopulated region. Number 2. Water availability per person in India is declining. Number 3. Rows of trees planted in the coastal areas to check the wind movement is called intercropping. Number 4. Human interference and changes of climate can maintain the ecosystem. Number 5. Activity. Discuss some more reasons which are responsible for changing of land use pattern. Has your place undergone any change in the land use pattern in recent years? Find out from your parents and elderly people. You can conduct an interview by asking the questions given in the table. Page number 21. There is a table given under this question which has 5 columns. Heading of column number 1 is place. Heading of column number 2 is when your grandparents were in their 30s. Heading of column number 3 is when your parents were in their 30s. Heading of column number 4 is why do you think this is happening? Heading of column number 5 is are common areas and open spaces disappearing? This table is divided in 2 parts. First part, rural, and other part is urban. First column has 3 questions for rural areas. Question 1. Number of cattle and poultry owned. Number 2. Number of trees and ponds in the village. Number 3. Main occupation of the head of the family. 5 questions are given in urban section. Question 1. Number of cars owned. Number of rooms in the house. Number of metalled roads. Number of flyovers in the city. Number of parks and playgrounds. Column number 2, 3, 4 and 5 are blank. Based on the table you have just completed, draw a picture of land use patterns that you foresee in your neighborhood after 20 years. Why do you think that land use patterns change over the years? The chapter 2 of total 6 chapters of the book ends here.